Hi, my name is Ryan Smith and I'm a Principal Consultant at Ten10. Today I'm going to be demystifying Robotic Process Automation, or RPA. RPA has seen an explosive amount of growth recently, and with any fast-moving industry there can be misconceptions and misinformation that may hold you back from knowing if RPA is the right solution for you. I'm going to set the record straight on what RPA is, the different types of automation that are available, as well as some of the common use cases and tools within the RPA space. So what exactly is RPA? Well, in its purest form, RPA is a software solution to automate your existing manual business processes in the same way that human users will perform them. The key differentiator between RPA and other forms of software automation is that RPA is intended to perform actions as a human operator would, without the need for any additional software outside of the standard RPA toolset. These automated processes are performed by bots that are intended to supplement or work alongside human users. RPA is best suited to highly repetitive, time-consuming tasks that can be quickly automated to add immediate benefit, but can also be scaled to form long, multi-departmental processes with multiple decision points that can be programmed into the automated workflow. In some cases, this also allows for redeployment of existing employees to allow them to focus on better tasks where automation is neither feasible or practical. To understand how RPA can be effectively implemented, it's important to know the capabilities and limitations of the RPA toolsets to set realistic expectations for the development time and return on investment. Here you can see the differences between process automation and cognitive automation. On the left is process automation, which at its core is the bread and butter of RPA implementation and allows for the automation of repetitive, manual and structured logical tasks quickly and effectively. We would expect these processes to use structured data that already exists in a machine-readable format, such as standardized spreadsheets, databases, or templated PDF files, such as invoices. These processes should already be considered highly stable and consistent, with low variability, complexity, and few decision points. In many scenarios, bots can handle most transactions with limited escalation to human supervisors in specific scenarios when required. This is often referred to as human in the loop. For maximum ROI, automation should be performed on processes with high volumes of required throughput or where rapid turnaround times are required. Moving on to the right-hand side of the page, you can see the attributes of cognitive automation. Cognitive automation involves more complex or decision-oriented processes with a higher likelihood of unstructured data or edge cases which require significantly more investment and often require the use of additional tools to fully or partially automate. These processes may need to involve machine learning to train bots to deal with unfamiliar scenarios to expand their capabilities over time. Human supervisors, again, are often involved, typically to help validate and further train bots as and where required. In addition to process and cognitive automation, automated processes can be further categorized as attended or unattended depending on how and where they're triggered from. Attended bots run on user workstations and are triggered by human user actions. They automate small, repetitive, tedious tasks to increase the speed and efficiency and are sometimes known as personal assistant bots or virtual assistants. Attended bots are often much simpler to create and implement and offer the potential to deliver rapid business value. Unattended bots, on the other hand, run on servers behind the scenes with little or no human interaction. They're built to be run on predetermined schedules or workflow triggers that can be used to automate wider back-office functions and processes at scale. These often allow for wider business process optimization and efficiency gains. As a result, unattended processes can be more complex and costly to implement and maintain, but often offer the potential for much greater ROI over the course of their life. It's important to recognize that both attended and unattended can be leveraged as part of your RPA strategy. Attended automation increases the speed, efficiency, and capabilities of desktop knowledge workers, and unattended automation helps streamline and scale back-office enterprise functions and workflows. At the end of this presentation, take some time to consider the tasks and processes within your business that you may wish to automate. Which do you think lend themselves to attended automation, and which would you consider be more suitable for unattended automation? So now let's talk about use cases. RPA tools, by design, focus on building automated solutions to either replace or streamline manual processes in a production setting. On the left, you have industry use cases for process automation. These include, but are not limited to, invoice and expense reviews, starter, mover, leaver journeys to streamline onboarding, IT support assistance and first-line support for simple but commonly requested support items such as password resets, Data transformation, extraction and sanitization of pre-existing internal data or new data entering internal systems from external sources to ensure data compliance and consistent formatting. And finally, the streamlining and simplification of multi-departmental operations such as customer onboarding, account changes or closure, which otherwise may be highly reliant on emails or instant messages. On the right-hand side of the page, more complex automations can be produced with cognitive automation. These include the review of contracts and other documents, including scanned or handwritten documents for inaccuracies or mismatches. Chatbots, both text and voice recognition, which can be used to streamline customer or employee engagement to allow simple queries to be formed based on user input. Candidate screening to scrape data from platforms which may not have accessible APIs. And finally, automated claims decisions based on predefined parameters or to build a suitable profile for human review. Of course, these examples can be achieved through a myriad of alternative solutions or approaches, and in some cases, alternative approaches or off-the-shelf solutions may be more suitable than RPA. However, where this isn't possible due to a reliance on legacy software, RPA can provide the benefits of a new platform at a much smaller cost. RPA tools and vendors are constantly evolving, and whilst a limited number of open source and freely available tools do exist, the majority of feature-complete and enterprise-ready solutions are currently commercial offerings. At 1010, we don't push towards any specific vendor or platform, as we appreciate that the needs of our clients differ and the right product isn't the same across all organizations. The availability of tools for bot creation, orchestration, monitoring, deployment, and testing are essential for creating an enterprise-ready robotic workforce. It's also important to consider the operational costs for licensing, the availability of training materials and accessibility to a community of developers to build automated processes and maintain existing ones. Whilst the vendors we've listed here aren't exhaustive, UiPath, Automation Anywhere, Blue Prism and Microsoft Power Automate are all excellent candidates for consideration if you are looking to go down an RPA route. RPA toolsets are typically considered low-code and offer their own ecosystem of products and solutions to cater to the multitude of scenarios in which you may wish to deploy RPA. So what exactly has driven the recent explosive growth in RPA? Well, for one, hype, investment and marketing, particularly from the RPA vendors themselves, who are all too happy to market RPA as a wonder solution suitable for any situation. RPA can be considered a non-intrusive technology, offering lower digital risk transformation compared to much larger platform or infrastructure changes. Bots also sit within existing security domains and controls. RPA can lead to reduced costs by offering greater value from employees and in some cases a reduced headcount. It should be noted that in our experience, RPA is better when used to augment existing staff workforces rather than replace. RPA tools can be used as effective forms of legacy reinvigoration, mitigating spaghetti code and manual workarounds. Again, RPA can offer easier change management by deploying on top of existing platforms rather than replacing them. Bots offer consistency, accuracy, speed, and efficiency as they'll only follow a predefined course and won't make mistakes when built correctly. Technology advances are leading to more effective solutions, particularly when coupling RPA with artificial intelligence and cheap infrastructure. Bots are highly scalable and can operate 24/7. RPA offers improved audit capabilities as bot logs can be stored and reviewed as and when required. As these bots follow a programmed path, they're ideal for processes with high amounts of regulatory compliance. The automation of tedious, repetitive processes allows your staff to be redeployed to perform more meaningful tasks with higher job satisfaction. Finally, the use of bots allows for better standardization. A single, well-defined process performed by bots is highly traceable and can be well documented thoroughly during the RPA analysis phase. At this stage, I expect that you'd be raring to go to start building your own robots, but there are some key considerations to keep in mind when determining if RPA is right for your organization. The first can be a lack of control and governance, particularly when attended RPA is involved where citizen developers are given free rein to create automated processes for use in their departments. Similar to Excel macros, these tools can be very powerful in the right hands, but consideration does need to be made as to the longevity of these processes and how easy they are to maintain. When thinking about large processes at scale, RPA will be considered a major IT change program. Good exception handling needs to be built into all processes, something that can often be forgotten about if only the happy path is considered by stakeholders. RPA presents the opportunity to enhance and improve your processes. You should consider if automation of the status quo really is the right solution, or if alternative improvements would lead to a better overall scenario. RPA can be akin to layering concrete on your existing processes and applications. Once automated, change control does need to be considered for the automated processes as well as the applications they run on. RPA is as much a cultural change as it is a technology one. Business users, especially end users who will be working with bots, need to be comfortable in accepting that the bots are here to make their lives easier and not replace their jobs. Realistic expectations need to be set. Like all automation, an investment needs to be made up front and implementation will be slow at first. The first processes that are automated should also be low risk, which may mean lower reward, but jumping in with your most complex processes out of the gate is a recipe for a failed project. RPA at scale requires the creation of entirely new capabilities and support functions. It's also important to understand who owns the automated processes post-implementation, the business or IT. Automation will sometimes require bots to process and handle confidential information. It's important that this information is handled with the right level of sensitivity and not the easiest route, such as Excel files or standardized emails. RPA is still a relatively new technology, meaning quality developers can be expensive and far and few between. Governance and the ability to audit processes is essential, particularly when handling sensitive information. It's important that these are considered when building your platform. Finally, the lack of suitable documentation for existing manual processes can prevent a significant challenge for automation. Does everyone within your department perform a manual process in the same way, or are there any flaws that need to be resolved within the scenarios prior to automation? RPA can be an extremely powerful tool when deployed correctly. It's important that the right strategies are in place to ensure successful implementation from the get-go. As I mentioned on the previous slide, in order to have effective RPA implementation, it's important to have a robust evaluation framework in place. The analysis of an automated workflow is just as important as the code itself. On this slide, you can see our recommended process. A simplified evaluation process would involve the identification of an initial list of automation candidates that the business believes has high automation potential. The documentation of steps and challenge areas of each process followed by a review to establish the complexity and potential business benefit to determine priority. Once this is known, select an RPA toolset most suited to your finalized list and start development work for a proof of concept. That concludes our webinar. We hope that this has provided clarity on the benefits of RPA and the considerations that should be made to fully realize the benefits that effective RPA can bring. If you'd like more information or to understand how Ten10 can help you on your journey, you can find us at www.ten10.com or at the contact details on screen. Thanks again for your time.